Marketing is a means to an end. And the end is the growth of the business in a profitable way.
We have 5 new pieces of creative. And so I said, what if we did this?
No bidding strategy is going to cure a bad business model.
Very true. This is where it's really crazy. I got to update that picture with us too. That was like when I was like 70 pounds heavier. I've lost a lot of weight. Yeah.
Really?
Dude, I went from like 220 pounds to like 148. It's nuts.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, wait a second. We've only been doing this for like a year. You've lost that much weight?
Well, that picture is actually from 2 years ago.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I was looking, I'm like, a little chubby there.
Nothing new and improved svelte.
Well, it's like kind of Photoshop, like, with chin in, and I make my head smaller. There we go.
You're supposed to gain weight as you get older. What the hell's going on?
Drugs.
Drugs.
Drugs are great. Do drugs, kids.
Aren't drugs great?
Drop out of school and do drugs. No,
that's right. We fully advocate doing drugs.
Just get into peer pressure. It's really cool. All the cool kids are doing it.
I know, absolutely. All my cardiology medicines. It's like I tell my kids, it's like, like when you have like the Lucky Charms and you pull out the little marshmallows for all the little like the green diamonds and the purple hearts and all these other sort of things. It's like that's what I have every morning. It's like that. I just like throw them in. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, it's good stuff. So what we haven't been doing is we haven't been doing any illicit drugs with all the media buying we're doing these days, especially the Andromeda update. We're actually pretty straight and narrow on that.
Yeah, it's actually now like SOPable and it's repeatable.
Yeah.
It's worked on. I mean, we're doing a small case study today, but it's more about Andromeda plus the first click CAPI imports to new customers only on Meta and Google. But then when I tell people that their in-platform metrics are going to look really weird, they're like, oh yeah, okay, and then it looks really weird and they panic. So what we're kind of reiterating today is like when you're using CAPI imports, you're missing data that you're used to, and it's not just that you're missing data of the overlap. Yet you are, and not of the returning customers, but yes, you are. So those two are conversions that are not going to be identified inside of the platform anymore. So your CPA usually goes up, your ROAS usually goes down, but because we're optimizing off of click imports, the typical view engaged and and view through conversions that Meta typically counts have been kind of snuffed a bit because they're not necessarily capturing all remarketing without clicks. They can only show the results with a click. So what's interesting about this is when you're taking a CAPI import and saying, hey, we've been able to track that Meta has produced 100 new customers that we can identify from a first click basis. That is never going to be the entirety of what Meta is doing for you. And I'll give everyone just a good kind of soundbite to remember. If your average click-through rate on Meta, let's just say it's 5%, that's excellent. But if you have a 5% click-through rate, the data that you can import is only 5% of what Meta actually did for your company. That's all you can track. So if you think about it, click attributed means, I mean, if you have a 3% conversion or 3% click-through rate, 2% click-through rate, you're missing 97%, 98% of the data. So the reason why media buyers or sometimes some strategists or business owners or agencies, whatever it is, have trouble building the client's businesses off of in-platform metrics is because if you use the standard platform metrics, they look fantastic. They're always, really, really good CPA. I'll share with you my brand that I've been working on for some time now. It's actually been a year this month, which is pretty cool.
Well, before we get into that, can we say who this show is sponsored by?
Sure.
So we've been doing basically a 9-month infomercial on Meta, Andromeda, and creative diversification plus CAPI imports, which is included inside the Tier 11 data suite. Obviously, there's a couple of different ways in which you can do that. One of the things that we talked about, we launched it last week, and we mentioned it the first time, is all of this you can get at Tier 11 for a very special price you will buy the creative diversification package or unlock the creative diversification package, which is 30 plus creatives per month, iterations 5 to 7 per week, based upon ad spend, based upon all the things that we've talked about on these shows here. And you get your media buying and you get your tier 11 data suite, which includes CAPI imports for free. Check it out over at tier11.com/creative diversification. That's tier11.com/creative diversification. I think if you miss the dash, it still redirects. Anyway, the point is you're buying one thing, you're getting 2 things for free. It's the craziest offer we've ever done because we believe in this stuff so much. And you, to your credit, have spent $7.8 million of
At least, yeah.
in our own businesses to test this. And it's obviously what we've been talking about here, perfecting this. I haven't seen anybody else do this on the internet. And there's a argument raging over on Facebook that I got into with me and you about like who came up with this first. I'm like, it's John Moran. So anyway,
who's saying otherwise?
Yeah, absolutely. They're like, yeah, all these other people. I'm like, no, that's not Nick Shackelford. Come on, he hasn't run an ad in years.
We have the data.
We got the data. We show it every week.
I'll hop into my account and show when the drama was set up in November of 2024.
Ooh, look at that. See,
that's actually the account I'm in right now.
That's amazing. So anyway, so check that out. We're going to leave that screen going. So if you're interested in getting our help, an amazing package. It's only for 11 businesses. I think we've already sold 4. So there's 7 left right now. So get it while it's hot. So anyway, take it away, John Moran.
Cool. So I'm just going to share screen on, on this campaign real quick. This is actually, let me remove the attribution settings first so we can kind of talk about this real quick. So, and we're going to get into MMM. MMM is going to be the topic for today, but we're going to be discussing why MMM. So if we look at this,
you're going to define MMM for those people who might not know what it is.
Absolutely. That's going to be right until we release it. It'll be like all dramatic for effect. So, right. So this is the first click CAPI imports for new customers that we measure everything off of new customer only. And now those things look like 350, 360, 274. So what's funny is you're like, oh my God, you're spending $3,500 and getting $274. But here you're spending $4,600 and getting $36. Like, whoa, look at how much better that is. $36 compared to $274.
And that per purchase digestive is a first click.
First click. Yep. First click and new customer.
Got it.
Now, here's what's interesting. If we actually look at the $36 purchase and we go over into the attribution settings and we say, hey, you know what, let's just look at the 7-day clicks, because that's pretty much kind of like where we see everything. What you'll notice is a few things first. The reason why this has a $36 CPA is because every 78 7-day clicks I get 51 1-day views and 4 1-day engaged views, which kicks it up to 129. Now, when you look at the ratios between 78 and 51 compared to a CAPI import, which is 836. So I have a way more click attributed, a lot less 1-day engaged view. Now, why would there still be 1-day views? Because even though we're importing the click, it's going to give you attribution on the last thing that happened. Click, view.
And it's probably a previous customer or somebody who has purchased in the past is what you're probably saying. Yeah.
Well, maybe because like this one here is this one's on a new customer, but it means that they had an ad click, then they saw an ad next and then converted and we're brand new first time customer. But because it's last click / last interaction attributed, it's going to say, hey, they did click, but that wasn't the last thing they did. What was the last thing they did? They saw an ad and converted the same day. Okay. But as long as there's 800 compared to 36, that's a lot of good click data. Much harder than 78 and 51. And now again, this 36 is not on all my new customers and it's not on first click. So let's just do the quick math here. If I am looking at this campaign here and I have a ad spend of 4647, so let's do 4647 divided by, and let's just do the 7-day click on new customers only, which we have 78, but only 21 are new. Ta-da! This is why standard implementation is horrible, because it says you made 78 sales. Most agencies and people are like, wow, good, I made 78 sales. Like that is what I brought to the company. Right. Not necessarily. You have 21 new customers. So if we look at this 4746 divided by 21,
it was 4647 originally, but anyway, just
4647. Dyslexia kicking in.
So that's all right.
Yeah,
all right.
I mean, or dyslexia.
That's why I'm here. 4647. There you go. Listex. Yeah.
Yep, divided by 21.
Mhm.
So now we have a 221 cost per acquired first-time customer. Again, not first click attributed, just any click attributed. So that's 221. Okay, so 221 is a lot different than like what we originally thought was 36. And then when you add in first click attributed, that 231 probably looks a little bit closer to 271. So your CAC is the same. Your NCAC is the same, whether you want to say I'm going to count all the overlap and returning customers and people not buying from this campaign, but attributing this campaign. Yeah, that's $36. But when you weed out the existing customers and all the first clicks that came somewhere else, it goes right back up to 271. So people panic. It's not. It's just showing you the true number, not an inflated, non-directional number that's just more influenced by outside sources than your ad spend, which means it cannot scale.
Right.
Now, that's why first click CAPI imports look terrible, but perform really well because it's learning and repeating actions it was responsible for. Now, we're going to hop into a case study, and this is the MMM case study. What the MMM stands for is multimedia mix modeling. So multimedia mix modeling essentially means I'm going to be looking at spend only by channel, adjusting spend by channel to identify where is a stable cost of acquire first-time customer that can be scaled. Mm-hmm. And what we're going to look at simply is like the entirety, but I want to share with you when we actually started it and then how that actually affects the top line metrics. Now, I don't actually have access to Meta. I do the Google ads for this company, but I do consulting in an MMM environment. I'll run Google, you run Meta, but I will dictate spend levels. They said, okay. Mm-hmm. So back in June, they had 22K in spend on Google, 32K on Meta, and was getting a nice 106 NCAC. Looked very nice, and that was a really nice and plentiful month for us.
Target is close to 106.
Exactly right.
Okay.
And yeah, we want to be under 125. Scalable under 125. That's our goal. And now what you're going to see, though, is over time, that 32,000 went to 28, 26, 21, 16, 15, 12, all the way down to 9. And at the same time, Google went from 21 to 17 to 19 to 10, 12, then back down to 10 and 9. So we started with a nice, $54,000, $55,000 a monthly ad spend at a 106 and went all the way down to like 17 at a 96. So, and then various along the way. So it doesn't really seem like things are getting more efficient because even at a halfway point, you hit 81 and 91 here. So basically, this just kept reducing and it wasn't getting more efficient because it was not overspent. It just simply reduces the volume. So our new customers are starting to drop and
I can't help but notice. Yes, there's a significant difference just outside of your highlight there.
Exactly. And then you're going to start to see 500 customers to 400 to 300 to 200 down into the 100s here.
Yeah.
Now, this is when I actually received a message from the client saying, hey, Google's not looking too good. I'm like, I know we're pulling back spend and I know that we're thinking that is going to make things a little bit better. However, what if we did the opposite? What if we had an opposite thought process? We're looking at spend levels. So I'm going to refresh the screen here so we can get a better view of things. And I said, what if we started to benchmark the ratios between times of good performance? We already know that a 66-33 spend, which means 66% of the spend on Meta, 33% of the spend on Google, and that is going to give us an NCAC of about 106. If we started to go down into the 80s and 90s, you can see that we had about the same ratio. If you go down in here, you start to see about the same ratio. So it seems like when you're spending about a 60-40 split between Meta and Google, maybe a 70-30 split between Meta and Google, your NCAC looks really good. So we have these areas benchmarked here. Now let's take a look at something else. If we said that Meta goes from 32 down to 26, and then Google goes from like 17 up to 19, okay, that looks like a bad ratio now. This one is scaling down. This one is scaling up.
Right.
17. This one went from 14 at 100, 19, 110, 19, 134, but 28, 26, 26. It actually, because of you have your 7-day sales cycle, it started trending in the wrong direction. So we started to look at it. It says, okay, here's the plan now. It looks like Meta is way better at prospecting, which is what I call the law of CPMs. If you have a $10 CPM and a $5 click on Google, $10 CPM on Meta, $5 click on Google, for every 2 people I bring to the site, Meta can show ads to 2,000. Makes a lot more sense to do prospecting on Google when you're talking about rapid scale at a fixed NCAC because of the law of CPMs. Google also starts to get increased into CPC when you start to scale on search, not so much on shopping. PMAX is junk, but on search, it definitely starts to increase its CPC. PMAX just starts to overshow to warm traffic. So it doesn't scale very well. So we whittled everything down to just a standard shopping campaign and brand inside of Meta in Google. And then I told Meta, I said, I want you to double spend and close your eyes. And we're going to do this for a month. It's like, that sounds counterintuitive to.
And what month was that? I'm just following along here, but
right here.
Right there. Okay. Got it.
So what we're going to see here, let me refresh the screen here because it looks like we're starting to whittle down into the areas where we're now spending like 9 and 9 and have a 96. I'm like, well, when their spend levels are the same, yes, it looks good. But what we noticed is anytime that Google started to push higher, the NCAC went up. But when Meta pushes higher, it necessarily doesn't. So that's what's kind of interesting is 11 can go down to 9 and 16, and we're in a good area. When 10 goes to 12 and 16 goes to 17, that was a large jump. That was a higher increase of ad spend compared to Meta's increase. So all we note is that when Google starts to push, NCAC definitely goes up. When Google stays flat, but Meta starts to push, NCAC holds. That's what we're able to identify with the spend levels when you're looking at this weekly. So I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to take your weekly average ad spend of 11,000, and we're going to turn that into a weekly average of 23,000, more than a 100% increase in ad spend.
Doubling it a little bit more. Yeah.
And now Google is going to go from 10.5, and I'm going to whittle down to 9. So we're going to take $1,500 out per week.
Just so I'm clear, on Google, are we talking about brand only? Or are we talking about
just standard shopping
keywords? Standard shopping. Okay.
Yeah. Google
no
search
brand.
was no. We have a brand, but it's like $50 a day. Like it's very, very, very small.
Got it.
You don't really need to spend too much on brand. So when we're looking at the spend level, we're usually talking about like prospecting new customers, first click only. It's kind of hard to get a lot of returning customers or do too much money in brand. Those are areas of where you see NCAC just blast to the moon as soon as you start to crank up on brand. Looks fantastic in platform, but we've already done the reasons why it should look good at the beginning of this call.
Right.
So we said, okay, we're going to take Google from about 10K to about 9K. And then Meta is going to go from 11K to 23K. So we're going to increase this. Now, what you're going to see is this NCAC went from an average of 97 for those 4 weeks. Now we're at an average of 93. So they doubled their spend on Meta. NCAC dropped by $4 or 5%. And then let's see what happened to the top line. This is the last 30 days compared to the previous 30 days. I won't include the current period, but last 30 days compared to previous 30 days, we have a 52% increase in new customers, and we held our returning customers. So all we did is hold Google, double the ad spend on Meta. Meta was like, horrible ROAS, high CPA, everything's on fire. Doesn't matter. We're looking at just pure NCAC metrics to grow and scale. Now, when we look over and down at the bottom here, we have 37% more traffic. Our conversion rate's still at a 3.21. We only went down 10%, so it's not a big drop. But now you can see the total sales and referral source up 171 on Instagram and up 153% on Facebook. And if you look at the conversion rate breakdown, 37% more sessions, 29% more added carts, 20% more reach checkout, 23% more conversions. Every single thing looks good. And I said, hey,
nice
because
increases there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And because Google went from
telling me the traffic is better educated that's coming to this site and are further on down the line to make a purchase potentially.
Sort of.
If I'm wrong. No?
They're still going to go through all the channels though. So watch this.
Okay.
We originally said Google's not looking too good. And I said, if you double spend on Meta, Google will look better. And I'll prove it by spending less. So watch this. Remember the spend went from 10,581 on average to 8,926. So it was a $1,600 per week reduction. And Google is up 11%. We actually gained about $13,000 in revenue, according to the Shopify. And so what this says is that there's a lot of overlap. Meta has a ton of overlap on channels. And I've been seeing this for so long, but it's hard for others to really understand this when they said, wait a minute, but attribution tracking means what that channel did. No, it's what that channel could see, but we're missing a lot of data. If you look at any sort of attribution tool on the surface of its face, it's going to share a lot of revenue. So by simply just increasing...
It's directional, not exact.
Exactly. By just increasing Meta, we increased our Capital One shopping, which is referral. Our Klaviyo emails are up 35%. Our Instagram is up 130%. Our Facebook is up 123%. And our Google is up 11%. So green, 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 green on, well, there's 4 different channels because these 2 are the same. So we got 1, 2, 3. This is the same one. So you can treat them as 2 different ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 channels all show green by at least 11 or 130% by just increasing 1 campaign by double. So this is what's very interesting about this is
quick question for you on Shopify.
Absolutely.
In those Facebook and Instagram, that is a mixture between ads and organic. I have to assume this client, kind of who they are.
Sort of, yeah.
Not really. They don't have a huge social presence, but like in Shopify, when you see that, whatever is coming from that, whether it's paid and or organic, but it's probably a smaller portion.
You sort of have to take the delta between the refer and the marketing, and you have to take the refer minus the marketing, which would be organic. This says, hey, social Instagram is up 171%, went from 17 to 47. We're like, okay. And then if we look at Instagram here, we have 22 to 52. So this is the total refer. Now, is the refer medium, organic, or paid? And that's what you have to kind of identify is like, this came from Facebook. Be like, what kind of Facebook? Well, the Facebook where we have ad spend when UTMs is marketing, it's this result here. But if you look at all the referral source, it's over here.
So it's the delta between the 2 is what you're saying.
Basically, right.
In essence, yeah.
Yeah. So I usually just look at the end, but then that's also only about 50% accurate too.
Right.
So
right.
You want to just look at
take a lot of guesses here, but
well, that's why MMM, if you look at here, this NCAC gave us the ability. And if I Control Z all the way back, this is what we were going through. This is the live documentation where we're tracking every single thing, where we went from green down to red, and then this one went to green down to blue, and then that's when we hit our zones. I mean, we're doing everything color coded, where the green was showing an increase, the red was showing a decrease. How did that actually affect the NCAC? I mean, we're doing like averages. Then the averages of what we went to 11 up to 23. Google went from 10.5 down to 9, and CAC went from 97 down to 93. We had a whole hour-long conversation, just this one page, all color-coded, and said 2/3 Google, or 2/3 Meta Google. Meta first, Google second, 66-33 split. But in order to get there to stress test it, we just doubled the spend on Meta, and boom, nailed it. And that was exactly how we were able to get up to a 55 or 52% more new customers. And what's interesting is you see return customer rate tank down 20%. So a lot of new customer acquisition, everything started to move up. Now, the reason why they were here is because they kept reducing spend inside of Meta because it was always looking terrible. And then I said, but if you keep doing that, you're not going to gain efficiency. You're just looking at in-platform metrics. Now, watch this. When we're looking at the in-platform metrics, remember here how this is a $36 CPA because it's counting more returning customers than new. So this one, if I look at this here, this one has 129 purchases, 129 sales, 25 of them are new, which means 75% of these or 80% of all of these transactions are repeat conversions.
Right.
So as you start to reduce your spend, the delta between the return and the new, these 2 here, you can see the new start to shrink, but the returns stay about the same size. New starts to shrink, but return stays approximately the same size. The reduction here is much less than the reduction here. So if you're counting more repeat than new,
driving growth is the top one.
But those are the expensive ones. I want the free ones because that makes CPA look good.
But eventually they're going to run out. Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah. You used to have 60% new, 40% returning. Now you have 70% returning, 30% new. Your CPA has never looked better. And close your company. Wow. So now watch this.
You have just optimized yourself out of business.
Exactly. I call it chasing ROAS into the ground. That's basically all it is. But now look at this. This is October. This is just when we looked at October in this date range here. This is October 6th to October 27th. So not even a full month of just that scale. And all of a sudden our new customers went from 979 up to 1,400. That is a nice little bump. But what's cool about this is, yes, it is going to look absolutely more expensive when you buy more new than the free returning. The free returning costs you nothing. All of the new is coming at a cost of what? Well, we know it's about $90. So if you have an average of $50, you add a whole bunch of $100 in there, that $50 goes up to $75. People want that to go down. They want it to go to $35. Okay, we'll take all the new customers out. That's better.
Yeah.
And platform
then
metrics will drive your company into the ground.
And I forget the business model of this business. Once again, it's not a one-time purchase, or it is.
Sometimes we're going to be remodeling a little bit. They have a 21 juice cleanse that takes 3 days to complete. Once you complete that, you're kind of like, I'm done. So we have some things in the works that we're building. We're going to test
offer
it.
Stuff. Yeah. So
product development, actually, but exactly right. So long story short, I'm like, hey, why did you buy the juice? Well, I was fat, I was gassy, I was bloated, I had diarrhea, whatever it is, wherever you needed a cleanse. That is what we're going to be building out subsequent juices for. So you came to us and got the cleanse. Why? I felt my immune system's bad. Well, great. After you're done with the cleanse, why don't you do the immunity protection bundle? This means that I keep exactly right. So you have an LTV built in because now we're going to be able to sustain the reason of good health as to why they came to us in the first place when it was bad. So we'll go through all that. Another call. It'll be really, really fun when we test it.
That's phase 2.
Exactly right. Fix the problem, get it back up, and now let's grow LTV. So we fixed our NCAC, we fixed our scale, we fixed our new customer. Now it's LTV time that we have to work on next. But it is good to see this thing going from basically kind of a May, June, July, August, September crash. And now we're actually at 1388 back in July, and we're at 1471. We're back to in between June and July numbers now. This is climbing back up.
Changing,
stupid fast. And we did it with a better CAC.
Yeah.
Now that's really fantastic because if we look back into June and July, our CAC here,
better CAC.
Yeah,
not about it.
Well, check this out here. This is kind of fun. The CAC between June and July was 106. When we doubled spend, what did we get? A 93. We're actually better optimized than we were back then.
Yeah. So, it's interesting that the mix here. I mean, this is MMM in action right here.
Yep.
But it's like you've got sort of this 2/3, 1/3 mix, 2/3 being Meta, top of funnel. I have to assume creative diversification, Meta, Andromeda, all the stuff that we're doing on the regular.
Went from 5 campaigns down to 1. First good CAPI import, taking only the high spend ads. They had one where they did an ad and was like, crush your symptoms in 3 days, and then the other one was just like, detox, and it was like, whoa, we changed narrative, and all of a sudden it started to fail. So I went back to there and make 3 more versions of that.
Yeah,
just call them different rather than rebuild your immunity, get back to energize or what your energy, like wake up feeling better, blah blah blah. Just stay along the same narrative and touch upon different pain points. Exactly.
Creative diversification. When did that start getting implemented? When did that creative change happen in and around? Right around there?
Kind of right around the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, what's funny is once he doubled the ad spend, the best performing ads that used to work shot back up to the top.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. So this is super, super recent. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is just last week.
Yeah. And you're already seeing it. Like this is just like a doctor used to say, Mr. Burns, one warm day in spring doth not make a summer. However,
how about a month?
When I was selling pharmaceuticals, like you're 2 weeks in though. Like was that 2 weeks or months? I forget now. You're about 2 months or 2 weeks.
We started this on October 6th. So we're just passed over the first 4 weeks.
So you're starting to see that optimization of those campaigns starting to kick in now that you've shifted the budget obviously over to the more top of funnel. You're still getting some last clicks for first click CAPI imports over on Google Shopping. I assume you're also getting some repeat business, obviously, but the majority of it, you're shifting it over to awareness for the product for new audiences that have never bought from you before.
This is all done with like 4 ads too on Meta. Like we have 20, but 4 are just rocking. And so we're just making new versions of those 4. That's it.
So out of the creative diversification, 10 different ad types, you're using like what, 1 or 2 maybe, or 1?
3 images and 1 video are just cranking, and they all have the same messaging, which is really interesting because when you're looking at your nomenclature, basically concept 1, hook 2, offer 1 is winning right now. So we're just making the same thing. Concept is a 3-day cleanse. The hook was actually more about the how it is kind of like fast and violent, like shock your system and reboot. I mean, you're basically drinking 21 juices in 3 days. You're probably gonna be on the toilet half the time. But yeah, I mean, you are just like restructuring your microbiome and head to toe of your body. And now that's going to be a shock to your system for sure, but you are going to basically do like a hard reset.
Shock to your bathroom.
Yeah. Roto-Rooter is going to be called on speed dial.
Damn.
But that's what basically it does, is going to go through it. So that's what's nice is and you can actually see it now when we go into the analytics. if we look at the last 30 days here compared to the previous period, which is when we started to scale, you'll see there it is. Organic juice cleanse is up 21% because we have 1,500 and 1,200, but half of that went up half. So that's about 25%. Ta-da. Half of half is about 25, and that's 21. They're buying pretty much that product. There's a couple other things that will get some kind of love every now and then, like the Red Cure and, the AG3 Live, but we're going to be doing more product development to enhance the LTV so that our NCAC targets can even be higher so we can scale faster.
Yeah. The juice cleanse is the flagship product, but you're getting some other additional stuff, which is like offer-based stuff later on.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll see like this one basically is kind of like, we don't really run a lot of brand at all. Like I just don't care about brand. I can increase new customers 50% in a week or in a month without touching a brand campaign. So when people look at ROAS, that's the reason why. Google looks better, but we're not actually spending anymore. But that's where you're looking at, like, you are doing that in 3 days. Like, that is a lot of juice. You don't really want to drink juice afterwards, but you feel great. But in order for you to not, in order for you to want to come back and continue is, okay, you were bad. Now you're good. Let's stay good. Okay, perfect. And then put you on a nice regiment that allows you to overcome the issue that you had in the first place, but that brought you here in the first place. So that'll be phase 2. We'll do another case study on that where we're increasing LTV. But you'll actually see this. Yeah. This is the meta ROAS. So I hid this column from before and I brought it back in here. If we look at the meta ROAS during this time period, it was a 161 and then it was a 1.59. Basically same ROAS. So when you're looking at first click CAPI imports,
in-app, obviously.
In-app, exactly. Meta ROAS is in-app of first click CAPI imports. You're basically, when our spend levels went from 11 grand to 23 grand, our meta ROAS in platform on new customer first click only went from a 1.6 to a 1.59. It basically stayed within 1/1000th of a percent. So when it stays within 1/1000th of a percent, this is what I'm talking about by first click CAPI import. When you have Meta optimizing for a result it was solely responsible for. Sure. John, how much should I scale? Well, why don't you just double it in a day? You could do that. Now, if I took a campaign where 75% of those recorded sales never happened on that campaign and I doubled that spend, it's going to blow up in my face. Yeah. So that's why I think the first click CAPI imports allows you to take a broader look at your business and say, it looks like when our spend level started to do this, we started to falter. When we did this, it started to look better. But then when we just brought this one up, it looks even better. Okay, excellent. Just keep cranking and let NCAC be your guide. You don't even have to jump into the platform. I don't have access to his Facebook ads. We did this without me even looking at the campaigns.
Oh, that's okay. You mentioned that to begin with. Okay, so you're just basically, all right. So this is advising on the creative diversification strategy, but then utilizing the first click CAPI imports on the meta. Got it.
So he's following the SOP that we've circled internally, or what we use on our clients. Yep. He has the creative because he does have this is like my client's client. So he was basically saying like, yep, they can get it done. So it's like, okay, cool. And this is why I'm running the Meta or running the Google, but advising him and his creative team, this is what you need to produce. Actually, the owner himself is the one that actually does a lot of the videos. So I'm just like we need like 15 more of these, like done. And they'll just keep pumping. Cause we need like about 3 to 4 ads every 1 to 2 weeks with the spend levels that we're at. We're only spending about $30K a week, but that's enough that you're going to need, 5 new ads per week kind of thing on average.
Makes sense.
But yeah, it's really interesting.
Question for you, how this would relate to, because it's a 60-40 split here, like 2/3 to 1/3 from Meta over to Google Shopping. How transferable is that to somebody who's watching here and to say, all right, well, what should my mix be when I'm doing MMM? Is that a benchmark that you would rely on? Because it seems like you were kind of going that way when you first started.
Yep. Yeah, it was 22-32. The issue is they were not tracking new customers first click. And each time that they would add $1 into the campaign, ROAS in platform would tank.
Okay.
So remember,
you had to fix that first before you could do any of the
and that's the first click CAPI imports. And that's the reason why it's like, okay, when every single time we add $5, John, ROAS tanks. But you're telling me with your first click CAPI import idea that I can go from 9 grand to 22 in 2 weeks and not see a drop? Correct. And that's what we started doing. This is the first day here. Went from 183 down to 119. And and then boop, pop right back up to 16, 1718. Why? A week-long sales cycle, which means when you go from 12 to 22, you're going to shock the system in both NCAC and in your in-platform ROAS. After 7 days, which means your time lag is 7 days, you don't count this date here. You start measuring here because this is the ramp up. And now the NCAC went from 79 to 89. It's under 120. We're still good, but our spend went from 12 to 24, and our ROAS is only 0.2 worse. That's fine. Keep cranking. And
That's
actually, as soon as we kept going, NCAC the week after that, because about a 7-day sales cycle, went down $9 more, and then ROAS jumped back up. Now we started at a 1.8 at 12, and now we're at a 1.7 with 21. So it is a lot easier to have your ROAS not tank down because you just throw a whole bunch of ad spend on it because it will repeat the actions that it was attributing, and those actual NCACs will look good. Here's a good one. If that $35 in-platform CPA in my campaign, if I added a whole bunch of new customers at $100 average, that 35 would start to go up, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's when people usually panic. Oh no, I'm getting new customers. I gotta stop. Yeah. That's what they're doing on accident. They don't realize it. Right. New customers cost more than returning customers. So when you add more new, your CPA average goes up. If you just eliminate it and stop optimizing for the returning customers, you'll still get them, but it will not start to target them more, throwing off your scale.
Yeah. So I guess if you are like, if you're doing creative diversification, you're doing first click CAPI imports on Meta, you've got, those campaigns humming, but you're also figuring out like, what's my media mix? What should it be? I'm in the e-commerce space. I have Google Shopping that's running. You said very, very small amount of brand on this, no high value keyword
like 1/30 of the spend, right?
1/30 of the spend's nothing. You're getting some conversions over there. That's fine. But the point is that 2/3, 1/3 mix about right in most cases when it comes to these sorts of models, or is it just specific to this brand, or like what can people take away? Say, all right, that's what I should be doing with my, I'm selling apparel, or I'm selling beauty, or I'm selling whatever it is. Like, what would be your recommendation or guideline?
Yeah, so it depends on a few factors. Industry first is what you want to look at. Like if I say dumpster rentals, Meta may not be the best. Dumpster rental near me would probably scale way quicker. So if I can be like
more like e-commerce, but anyway, keep going with that thought. But
and it's exactly right. It's almost like what you have to look at is a few things, and I'll give you like kind of my SOPs that I go through in my mind, which is is it an established industry that people are going to search for first rather than would be interrupted in their day? So when I say search for first, I can't be like, here's a good example. Facebook for personal injury. That's hard, very hard, because there's no demographic, psychographic, geographic. It's pure situational. Yeah. Hey, Ralph, got in a car accident today? No? Shit. See you tomorrow. Now, if I'm Google, I just wait until you go to Google and say personal injury attorney. Now I know you're immediately relevant. So that
I know what kind of ads we run on Facebook for personal injury. It's not that. Anyway.
I know. Well, what I'm saying is like, if I'm talking for like what general people would do.
Absolutely.
What we typically see.
Right. Like that would be a direct response ad on a social interruption platform that makes no sense.
There's no brand building. There's no case studies. There's no repetition. There's no TV commercial. Like the bus and the bench type of advertising, that always works really, really well. And you have to do it. Right. But if you're looking at, okay, I'm a personal injury attorney. Do I choose Meta or Google first? That right there is like, those are the things you have to ask yourself. You can actually attract a lot of bottom of the funnel, but your ceiling's much lower. Right. On Google, which means I can capture everyone that's looking for me. And then once I plateau at the people looking for me, then I can surpass that with Meta a lot of the times. Yep. It really is heavily dependent upon industry, though. I mean, it's very dependent upon industry. Typically, though, if you have a wide reaching offer that can reach most of the general population, shoes, that's everyone wears shoes, food, everyone has to eat, juice,
laundry detergent.
Tablets to clean your floors.
Wash your hands.
Exactly right. Like, hey, are you alive on Thursday? Want a clean house? Nope. Like, how does that happen? So,
do you have dirty laundry? Yeah.
Hey, do you wear clothes? I do.
Do you wash your hands? Hopefully you do. Otherwise, it's really kind of disgusting.
Yeah, so I would do this. If you put yourself in the middle of a stadium, okay, you're in a football stadium, and you walk out during halftime and you grab the mic and you say, folks, I have a 21 juice cleanse available for half off. theoretically 80% of those people would be like, okay, I'll try it. Now, if I walk out to that same thing and say, hey, folks, who has lost, their dog this week? It's like, there's probably a lot fewer people, but I have to pay for all of those with Meta.
Yeah, right.
That's the difference. Is Meta, you're buying the haystack, hoping there's a lot of needles. Google, you're trying to buy just the needles. So that is the kind of the thought process that you have to think about is, can I afford this mass marketing because there's a large portion of these people inside of the general population? Or is this really when I have to kind of wait for them to search? The amount of answers between those two questions will dictate your spend levels.
I like that haystack analogy. We should use that more. That's pretty good.
Right.
You think that one off the top of your head?
I've used that for a few months.
Farmer John.
Right.
All right. So classic marketing example, trying to get John Moran to paint it into a corner here. Like, this is what you do. Is like, it always depends.
Always depends.
It always
Everything's
depends.
custom.
That's all right. No,
I try to give you the building blocks, the blueprints, everyone, so that you can apply the rules to yourself, because cookie cutter does not fail. That's called a bad agency.
Yeah. Well, if it was that easy, everybody'd be able to do it. But we've said that many, many times before. So that's fascinating. I'm going to be really interested to see how that one develops. I mean, there's so many that we've got here, and we've got like, the dishwasher soap detergent company, which hopefully will have something soon enough. We just need a little bit more creative on that side. Creative diversification package. That's what we're pitching this week. Right. Anyway, let's get over to some questions here. We are running short on time.
Yeah. Let's do it.
You good?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. All right. El Mundo de Lolo, one of our loyalists here. Should we increase spend during the BF morning peak and then scale down later in the day? Would ramping up a campaign level budget strategy in the morning help? A Black Friday question. Very relevant.
I probably we'll do a Black Friday episode next week. I did one this week internally on a small little consulting group that I work with. And the main takeaways, in my opinion, are the sales cycle dictates all. I personally do not increase all the way up until about the 5 days before Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I really don't. I like to actually increase my cost cap restrictions, increase my ROAS thresholds, and decrease my TCPA thresholds. Reason why is because if you think about a sales cycle, during the time of peak emotional buying, which is what's the best deal on any products that I think I want, there's very little room left to, but what's that new product I'm getting ads for? The people that are like, hey, or Ralph, do you have anything that you have on your wish list that you're going to buy for Black Friday, Cyber Monday if it comes on sale? Anything you're thinking of?
I have everything I need, John. I have you on Friday. Right. That's all I want.
Perfect. I'll be discounted.
Just want you at 40% off. That's all.
Right. And so, but that was the thing too, is like right now, like I'm looking at a pair of new cowboy boots because I do wear cowboy boots. I'm like, oh, if those go on sale, I'll pick them up. Now, if someone's just like, hey, there's a hat the day before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it's going to be going on sale. I'm like, yeah, but I kind of want the boots. So I'm using a bad analogy to kind of explain do you think you can take the week of Black Friday and pump through your sales cycle, capture more attention than everything else, and then scoop up the deal faster than all of the other competitors that were already thinking about at that time? And maybe not even in your industry, just people that want to buy them, people that are trying to sell them something. And what I typically do is I actually do not increase, especially in Google. I will absolutely use a really restrictive ROAS and TCPA target. I'll give you have a second visual, because people usually can't fathom this in the brain because it is something that is counterintuitive. But when you look at the sales cycle and how people buy, you're like, okay, I can see that. Like, you could increase a little bit, but you're not looking at doubling spend the week of it. The people that you're trying to attract should have started a month ago.
Right.
That's why we're increasing our spend so much right now in that juice company before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, a month before. Yeah, we got 50% more new customers. They'll lull, and then boom.
Yeah, you're laying the groundwork.
Exactly right. I'm laying the foundation. Yep. Now watch this. You ready for this one? This one's kind of fun. This is last year, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And this is what I mean by I not really increasing any sort of spend. This is November 29th compared to the day before. And look at the campaign level. My cost during this time period, this is literally Black Friday day of, my cost went up $28. So it went from $1,231 to $1,260 spend. And before that $28, I gained $184,000. So What does this tell you? Well, let's look at the brand.
It's a good day.
Yeah, it's not bad. For 75 cents on brand, literally 75 cents more, I got 106,358. Now, did I need to increase? Absolutely not. What Google will do is say, well, fine, screw you. I'm just going to bring your CPC down to a penny so that you can earn it because you're using ROAS during the sale.
Yeah.
So that's what's nice is my CPA went down to a nickel because I'm the one that is going to be earning that. It's not even physically possible at a cost per click to go from 1,800 clicks to 4,000 clicks, 2,564 clicks more, 2,500 clicks more for 75 cents. What's that CPC? 75 cents, 2,500 clicks. It's sub penny.
Yeah.
So people are like, yeah, now if I increase my budget 40x, I would have still got the same result. Did I need to do it? No. And that's why I don't.
We should do probably a little bit more Black Friday Cyber Monday
We'll
next week because I think
Yeah.
based upon the questions here,
If you're watching now, crank your budget up. Crank it up now.
Crank it up, Thomas from Austria.
Greetings from Austria.
Greetings, a loyalist here to your 11 Live. I'm still concerned about my Black Friday Facebook campaigns, and I can't build an audience like the years before. Retargeting continues to next post. I spend €200 daily for my Black Friday budget. I want to spend 1,000, and I want to harvest the warm audience. Can you share your latest insights on this
Here's
topic?
my opinion.
And he says please, which is very nice, very Austrian.
Thank you. That's right. The almost Canadian.
Polite. Yeah.
No, that'd be sorry. I'm just kidding. All right. So here's the bad part. Why people most often struggle with this time of year is because clients are very nervous about spending a whole bunch of money and seeing dwindling results right before the biggest week of their company. But that's the time that you have to spend. So my opinion, if you're spending 200 and you want to spend 1,000, my ROAS is always at 20-30%. And my TCPA is usually non-existent unless it's like a 2,000 TCPA. My cost caps are dead and gone inside of Meta. What I mean by this is whoever's using a cost cap or bid cap or anything right now, please remove it ASAP. I promise you things will get better if you're also measuring correctly. What I mean by this is we had, this is exactly right. We have to, for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, this is what we're doing here. And this is counterintuitive to usually what people believe inside of all paid media. If I go into our campaigns, watch this. If I look at this campaign here, the one that we're spending about 290,000 on, if I look at the view history, you'll actually see that we took our ad spend and we actually lowered the ad spend. This was right here on October 30th. Yeah. So it went from 20,000 down to 12. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we've removed our 260 cost cap. Now, by going from $20,000 down to 12 and remove the 260, that was on October 30th.
Yeah.
Then let's look at October 30th compared to this date range here. What ended up happening in this campaign here? Well, my spend went up 44%. My cost per new acquired first-time customer went down $10, and my new customers increased by 48%. So you took your ad spend down 40%, removed the cost cap, and then scaled to the moon. Very strange, right? This is counterintuitive to what everybody normally does. Here's the reason why. How do you cost cap prospecting? Don't go after that person unless you know they're going to buy. Well, it's like, well, I haven't met that person before. Well, unless you know they're going to buy, don't talk to them. I said, fine, I'm not going to talk to them. Cost cap prospecting is counterintuitive to anything.
That's super interesting. It's counterintuitive, but it makes sense at the same time.
Yeah. So if I say, I mean, think about it in real world terms. Go in front of that audience. It'd be like, hey, Ralph, don't go on stage today because there's 500 people in the audience. Don't go on stage unless 200 are going to buy. And if 200 don't buy, you're going to be in trouble. So are you going to go up on stage?
Yeah.
No, I'll just hang back here. Collect my paycheck.
Go to a bar.
Exactly right. So you're spending 200. You want to spend 1,000. Spend 1,000. Measure top line. Now, here's the other part is that might not go all prospecting. That's okay for Black Friday, Cyber Monday because you want the warm traffic. Right before your sale, crank up that CPA, ROAS, whatever it is, cost cap that you're using. Say only focus on the people that you know. Then that will work. But if you restrict it before you bring them in, then you can't restrict it after they're here to focus on who's going to buy.
Yeah. Makes sense. We've got a lot of questions here.
Holy shit. Okay, let's
oh
keep
my
going.
God, do we get so many? Ollie, I have been doing an RFP the last couple of
Sorry.
days. I will talk to you a
I'll
little bit later. I'll message
I'll
you.
speed this up.
Thanks for coming in. All right, Dave Ashley for Andromeda. Do you put all ads in one campaign if the company has very different demographics? So you want to target students, younger people, run ads for retired people, older people.
Yeah. So I
Interesting
actually use
question.
2 different first click CAPI import events. So one would be it would be a new retired person. The other one would be new student. And then I would have those 2 campaigns separate out and one ad set and only the ads that are pertaining to that goal.
Sick. Love it. Great. Simple answer for Dave.
Yeah.
All right, Stu EP. You guys help me scale the account I'm running to 1.9 million per month. Thanks, guys.
Nice. Good job. Brought
And
impact down from over 500 to under 360. There you go.
Is sick. I love it when people take action.
That's my wife. I just have her on a different account.
That's right. Stu EP is really,
The bald dude's kind of hot.
Sorry, yeah. Bald guy. I love that bald guy. On all the drugs. Please talk about first-time customers only versus first click versus first-time customer only. Could we run first click on Meta and simply use new customers only on Google?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the part too, is you can use anything. Now, what my question back to you would be, if you're looking at your channel flow, is that appropriate? And would there ever be a time where it doesn't have enough information to optimize because we whittle down too narrow? Because that will stall.
Okay, got it. All right, we've got some love from Bangladesh. Hasibul, love you too, buddy. Yeah. Big Money 33 is in the house. 33 Big Money in the house.
I'm so sorry. Also, Stu EP, one thing to note. If you wanted to do first click CAPI imports, you can do that. Just don't optimize towards it. Look inside your platform and you'll see the difference between new customers and first click new customers. That will tell you what it is and say, if that is plentiful and enough and consistent enough, I can swap to that and then optimize forward. So there is a halfway point that you can use.
You're just way too helpful. I just wanted to call out,
Thanks.
People make them like YouTube famous for a second. Inderkeep Singh says, hi, John, I'm using currently max value bid strategy, target 150% for lead gen, only one campaign, 4 ad groups, phrase and exact keywords. Performance is not good. What would you do differently?
So remember my rule. I never go above 40% ROAS target. What you're doing is you're being prejudiced to your prospecting network. What I mean by that is, remember, unless you think or Google, do not go and attract anybody that you haven't met before. It says, okay, I won't. And that stops prospecting. And that's also inbound and outbound. Think about your ROAS restriction is how well can Google predict the future? Well, it can only predict the future off of what it knows from the past. And if it's their first interactivity, like first click new customer, there is no data to actually use. So you're starting brand new with everyone. You can't restrict what you've never known.
Yep. Got it. We've got 5 minutes and we've got a lot of questions here. How the hell did this happen? Yumi has a question. So without CAPI, the Andromeda doesn't deliver results, or CAPI imports are just better for us to see what's actually happening?
So CAPI will deliver better results. It's just your metric inside of your campaign is true. $10 can go up to $100 in CPA very fast if you have 90% returning customers that you are now eliminating.
Right. Exactly. So, okay. 33 Big Money. He's just not here, but he's asking questions. What percent of retargeting is in Performance Max versus new users?
40%.
40%. There you go.
That's what I've been able to kind of be consistent with.
40%. So we're getting an actual answer instead of it depends.
That's what I've been consistent with. Yeah. Every single time it's always that 60-40.
Write that one down. John gives definitive answer.
Well,
okay.
40% remarketing, not necessarily returning customers. 40% remarketing just so happens to be the fact that most of the time returning customers are on your website buying returning things. And so they're getting hit with those ads and attributed.
Right. Makes sense. Returning customers do buy stuff again. Legend, big fan of John Moran, says MD Messenger Ramen. Anyway, I just love doing call outs here. I feel like I'm running like a radio show here or something. Indergeep, I feel like I'm back in college. Indergeep Singh, he's asking a lot of questions today. He's very, very inquisitive. Do you think making drastic changes in bid strategy or budget hurts the performance on search for lead gen? How much should we decrease the budgets for bids, and how often? We've got like 20 questions left here. So
we're as many as we can. So here's what I would say, just in general. Your bid strategy should be thought of less. You want to have your bid strategy for prospecting be the absolute most aggressive for lead gen. Think about this as a golden rule. The reason why Google charges the first position so much is because if you cannot work with the person in the first position, and you also like let's say the client or the lead or the searcher or the user cannot work with the first person, they can't work with the second person. What are the odds that if you are number 3rd on the page, they can work with you? A lot of times you get the leftovers from the people above you. And that's usually what happens in lead gen. It's like, yeah, I called this company, but they were kind of expensive. I called that company, they were kind of expensive. But guess what? You're expensive too. It's like, no, you're cheap. So that's the difference between what happens. But if you're first thought of, first considered, you will actually sometimes see a better conversion rate and also a better post lead generation conversion rate because you have the higher quality leads because you were first. Is that worth $10 extra per click? To me, absolutely. Will I overspend on it? No, I'll manage the results in NCAC by daily ad spends. That's why we're doing MMM today. How much can we afford to spend?
All right. El Mundo de Lolo. During Black Friday, we have high returning customer rate of 60%. Should we spend more on existing customer campaigns in Meta or still look for new customers heavily?
Do as much prospecting you can up until the point where your sales cycle starts, which means if I have a 10-day sales cycle and my Black Friday campaign starts on the 25th, I will increase my ROAS and TCPA on the 15th, which means I don't have enough time to warm up new traffic. I got to focus on who is here and now. And I would actually even run a teaser as an ad to those people like 3 days before we launch so that they're getting a high frequency. And then as your new Black Friday ads come out, the people that have been engaging with that high frequency teaser ad are the first to be targeted with the new ta-da, it's Black Friday is live now.
Got it. We definitely need to do a Black Friday show.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we should have.
Apparently. No, that's all right. We were excited about other stuff. My God, Black Friday is so like next week.
Yeah, that is so 2025. We're almost 26 now. Come on.
I know, really. Like, yeah, it's 27, really. Yeah. Jap Rosmaj. I'm not even going to pronounce that one. No anyway, thanks for asking the question. Have you a take on the incremental value of demand gen when assisted conversions are very high, but the OCI in funnel conversions are just 10% of that?
No. And that's also because demand gen uses what they call now their platform comparable, and platform comparable means it eliminates the use of the data-driven attribution to actually more like a triple attribution. If you're familiar with triple whale, like if it got a touch point, it takes 100% of the credit, which means your in-platform results are actually multiplied. Yeah. I'll give you an example. Click on shopping, click on brand, and a view in demand gen. 1 sale, Google Ads will say 2 sales, 1 conversion, 2 if you include demand gen's platform comparable, because it took all the credit for that sale along with everything else that had to split between data-driven attribution. So I don't like demand gen at all. I have never actually made it scale on its own. It's always been at the coldest 40% cold. It is just a big remarketing engine and Google knows it. But everyone out here just usually looks at ROAS. So yeah, they'll take all your money.
Yeah, you've been very consistent with that. This might be our last question here. Daweed, Daweed. While using the view page conversion goal and feeder campaigns and meta ads, I've noticed that the numbers seem to be heavily inflated. Around 100 reported view pages correspond to actual as 3-4 PV.
My opinion, don't use page views or view pages. What I would actually use is view content. The difference between view pages and view content is a non-bounce, but you might get 10 page views for a 1 view content. So that's what I would use is view content means they've been to the site. They have looked at something for longer than 10 seconds. They scrolled more than 50% down the page. They went and visited another page. Then they say that's the engaged user. So view page, bot, view content, engaged audience user.
Yeah. Usually view content is on like a product page or a PDP page. So like it shows buyer intent. I mean, especially depends on where you're sending your traffic to, but yeah, we'd never use page view.
Yeah, ever. Usually then you're going to get like 3 cent clicks, but also 3 cent traffic.
Yeah, a lot of back clicks.
Get what you pay for.
All right. Do we have one more question for Inder Deep here?
I think we can do it.
All right, we can do one more. He asked a lot of questions. He's very, very inquisitive, and I think this is an easy one. Have you ever found success with YouTube ads for lead gen? Unfortunately, it never worked for me. What are the best practices for that?
Imports. I've ran that for very, very long for a very large company for many over 4 years. It is a standard for me to run these type of campaigns. I don't have time to share screen, but just what I was doing is it's YouTube that turned into demand gen, but I've kept the YouTube and allowed it to turn into demand gen simply because the smart shopping that turned into PMAX, but it was feed only, were the best PMAX campaigns we've ever seen because it inherited the previous settings. So I've left my YouTube campaigns on, allowed them to turn into demand gen, didn't change anything, but yes, YouTube for lead gen is great. However, it has to be done on imports. If not, then you get a whole bunch of bot spam traffic that steals the attention away with high click-through rates and a lot of clicks, but then it steers to there and then you lose your quality audience. Imports would stop that from happening.
Got it. All right. Well, that is this week's Ad Lab, cooking up chaos in the performance kitchen, as always. And of course, all brought to you by Tier 11. And you can buy the creative diversification package and get your media buying and your Tier 11 data suite, which includes CAPI imports, for free. Check it out.
Wow.
tier11.com/creative-diversification. As always, John Moran, it's a pleasure hanging out with you on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, same here. This is fun stuff. I love it.
Great stuff. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next Friday. We'll be talking Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I will promise that.
Yes. But if you're getting ready to do it, start scaling now. Drop your ROAS, crank up TCPA, turn up max conversions, turn up maximize conversion value, hit the gas, measure by top line. You'll feel better.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. Talk to you next week. See ya.
Bye, everybody.